Good morning. I'm Stephen Leake. I'm an elder at First Presbyterian Church in Mesquite, Texas, and I'm also the teacher of the Discipleship Sunday School class there. Last week, we began our study of the great metaphor that John recalls Jesus using. I am the light of the world. And we talked about how in the book of John there are no parables, but there are several great metaphors and similes that Jesus used as a teaching device. I'd like to remind you that our curriculum is based upon the Daily Bible Study Series by Professor William Barclay, and we're using the New Revised Standard Version of the Bible for our scriptures. So let's reread the scripture that we started last week. John 8, verses 12 through 20. Again, Jesus spoke to them. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Then the Pharisees said to him, You are testifying on your own behalf. Your testimony is not valid. Jesus answered, Even if I testify on my own behalf, my testimony is valid because I know where I have come from and where I am going. But you do not know where I come from or where I am going. You judge by human standards. I judge no one. Yet, even if I do judge, my judgment is valid, for it is not I alone who judge, but I and the Father who sent me. In your law, it is written that testimony of two witnesses is valid. I testify on my own behalf, and the Father who sent me testifies on my behalf. Then they said to him, Where is your Father? Jesus answered, You know neither me nor my Father. If you knew me, you would know my Father also. He spoke these words while he was teaching in the treasury of the temple, but no one arrested him because his hour had not yet come. When Jesus made his claim to be the light of the world, the scribes and the Pharisees reacted with hostility. That claim would sound even more astonishing to them than it does to us today. To them, it would sound like a claim, as indeed it was, to be the Messiah, and even more, to do the work that only God could do. The word light was specially associated in Jewish thought and language with God. And here's some examples. The Lord is my light, Psalm 27:1. The Lord will be your everlasting light, Isaiah 60, verse 19. By his light I walked through darkness, Job 29, verse 3. And when I sit in darkness, the Lord will be a light to me, Micah 7, verse 8. And the rabbis declared that the name of the Messiah was, in fact, light. When Jesus made the claim to be the light of the world, he was making a claim for the highest position in the world. The argument of this passage is difficult and complicated, and it involves three parts. First, the Jews insisted that a statement such as Jesus made could not be regarded as accurate because it was backed by insufficient witnesses. It was, as they saw it, backed by his word alone. And in Jewish law, truth was founded on the evidence of two witnesses. A single witness shall not suffice to convict a person of any crime or wrongdoing in connection with any offense that may be committed. Only on the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses shall a charge be sustained. Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 15. On the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses, the death sentence shall be executed. A person must not be put to death on the evidence of only one witness. Deuteronomy 17, verse 6. No one shall be put to death on the testimony of a single witness. That from Numbers chapter 35, verse 30. Jesus' answer was twofold. First, he answered that his own witness was enough. He was so conscious of his own authority that no other witness was necessary. This was not pride or self-confidence. It was simply the supreme instance of the kind of thing that happens every day. Great surgeons are confident in their own abilities. They do not need anyone to support them. Great lawyers or judges are sure of their own interpretation and application of the law. It's not that they are proud of their own knowledge, it is simply that they know. Jesus was so aware of his closeness to God that he needed no other authority for his claims. Second, Jesus said that in point of fact, he had a second witness, and that second witness was God. How does God bear witness to the supreme authority of Jesus? Well, the witness of God is in Jesus' words. No man could speak with such wisdom unless God had given him knowledge. And the witness of God was in Jesus' deeds. No man could do such things unless God was acting through him. Further, the witness of God is in the effect of Jesus upon men and women. He works changes in people which are obviously beyond human power to work. Finally, the witness of God is in the reaction of men and women to Jesus. Wherever the good news of Jesus is proclaimed, there is a response in people's hearts. It is God in our hearts which enables us to see God in Jesus. Second, Jesus dealt with his right to judge. His coming into the world was not primarily for judgment. It was for love and compassion. At the same time, people's reaction to Jesus is in itself a judgment. If they see no beauty in him, they condemn themselves. Here, Jesus draws a contrast between two kinds of judgment. There is a judgment that is based on human knowledge and human standards and which never sees below the surface. That was the judgment of the scribes and the Pharisees. And there is the judgment that is based on knowledge of all the facts, even hidden facts, that can only belong to God. Jesus claims that any judgment he passes is not a human one. It is God's, because he is one with God. Therein lies our comfort and our warning. Only Jesus knows all the facts. That makes him merciful as no other can ever be. But it also enables him to see the sins in us which are hidden from the eyes of others. The judgment of Jesus is perfect because it is made with the knowledge which belongs to God. Last, Jesus bluntly told the scribes and Pharisees that they had no real knowledge of God. The fact that they did not recognize Jesus for who and for what he was provided the proof that they did not. The tragedy was that the whole history of Israel had been designed so that the Jews should recognize the Son of God when he came. But they had become so involved with their own ideas, so intent in their own way, so sure of their own conception of what religion was, that they had become blind to God. That's our lesson for this week. Next week, we'll begin with verse 21 of chapter 8. I want to update you with my visit to the surgeon last week. He said that there was no cancer in the margins or in the lymph nodes that were removed along with my prostate gland. So the initial pathology report looks very promising. I want to thank you all for your prayers. Now, in February, I have to take the blood test again that started this whole process. And if that PSA test is 0, then I don't have to go back to see the urologist for a whole year. If it's not 0, then I have to start seeing a whole new round of doctors. So I appreciate your continuing prayers and concern for me. Now, this week also contains November 11th, which is Veterans Day. And I want to wish all my fellow veterans a happy Veterans Day. And I want to say thank you for your service. God bless you all.